Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to My Expanded Universe, a show where I go through the entire EU in chronological order as best I know how. Check it out, an Ewok. Today we're going to review the classic Star Wars news strips by Russ Manning. Now I'm not going to refer to them as the newspaper strips, I'm going to refer to them as the classic Star Wars comic books from Dark Horse. When Dark Horse had released these comic books, I thought these were old Dark Horse comic books. I had no idea about the newspaper strips back in the day. So I just thought, oh, well, this is something that Dark Horse came out with a long time ago, and now that Star Wars is popular again, they're just reprinting some comic books they made back in the 80s. I didn't have any idea what they were. And then only later on did I find out that Star Wars had a newspaper strip, which I've talked about before, which would be incredible to me because can you imagine checking your daily newspaper and reading an adventure about Luke, Leia, and Han? That seems nuts. I remember my grandmother down in Mobile, Alabama had they had a Spider-Man comic strip. And I remember thinking that was so cool. There was a comic book in the comic strips. So I can only imagine what Star Wars was like in the newspaper. However, by the time I'd grown up, I'd missed that part. I only knew it from the comic books. So I'm going to talk about the classic Star Wars here. Now, a lot of people in some of their timelines, they mix these up. They say, oh, do 4 and 5 first, then read 17, then read issues 9, 8, and 14, then go back to 1 and 2. We're not going to do all that. I'm just going to run through these in a certain block by block area, and that's how I think they actually should be read. I don't think there's that big a deal difference when you're switching up here and there. So anyway, we're going to talk about the first 4 issues here today, and the first issue has to deal with our new villain that is revealed called Black Hole. Now, he is instructed by Darth Vader to capture Luke and Leia, and they are on a gambling planet at the moment, and they're on the run from Black Hole and his Shadow Troopers. Shadow Troopers are black stormtroopers, which I thought was really cool. Now again, I don't know what it was like in the black and white newspaper strips, but in the colored comic book, it actually looked really cool. So when I was reading these, like, oh wow, this is a really great idea they had. This is your classic, mysterious Black Hole is a mysterious nemesis who's, waiting in the shadows. He's trying to get, he's the newest threat to Luke and Leia, and it's an interesting story. Now, of course, Black Hole does succeed. He does capture Luke and Leia, and so in issue 2, it focuses on R2-D2 and C-3PO coming up with a plan to help them escape. Now, we see this a lot in the comic books, right? Especially the old comic books. It seems like every other issue, someone's getting captured. Luke, Leia, Han, the droids maybe. Someone's got to get captured and someone's got to save them. That's just how story writing was. So let's move on real quick and go to issue 3. In issue 3, after being freed by R2-D2 and C-3PO, Luke then meets up with a rebel agent who is going to hook him up with an Imperial contact, to give him some important information on the Empire. And meanwhile, Leia gets captured by a local gang. Just vicious circle here. Now in issue number 4, Luke is called back to abandon his mission because he needs to go to Tatooine to stop the Imperials from obtaining secret information of where all the rebel bases are. So the story shifts back to Tatooine. Of course, we have Luke on Tatooine again, which I've already spoken about. All right, so those are the first 4 issues. What did I think so far of this story? Well, as I told you, I was reading these in comic book form. I had no idea they were reprints from newspaper clippings, and I actually enjoyed this story. I thought Russ Manning had, just like Archie Goodwin, had a vivid imagination and had a lot of creativity to come up with a lot of scenarios and aliens and bad guys, villains, that we hadn't seen before. And in my opinion, that kind of different is very good. All right, folks, that's all the time I have for now. See you next time with another video.